Hi everyone, my name is Lou Townsend and I am a sophomore biological systems engineer at University of Nebraska, and I wanted to tell you a little bit more about my 6-week experience with Lincoln Bike Kitchen. So just to recap, the mission at LBK is to promote health and wellness through the cycling community while also educating youth about sustainability and reduction of fuel and emissions. Over my course of this whole experience, I realized that I used a lot of interpersonal skills, and 3 in particular. The first one is conveying abstract concepts effectively. So when I first started out, I noticed that there was a language that people used in the biking community. There are specific terms that people who don't bike probably don't know. And one of those was truing a tire. I didn't really know what truing a tire was before starting volunteering here. So using simpler terms and breaking down some of that language that people don't really know into understandable terms is super huge when you're volunteering here. And so instead now I tell people, oh, we're going to go put this wheel into a vise and see if it spins straight. And if it does, awesome. And if it doesn't, we got work to do. And then another skill is acknowledgement of strengths and weaknesses. So one of my weaknesses is speaking up, especially in situations where I am embarrassed or have done something wrong. I usually like to try and fix it, and then it ends up badly for me. So one time I put on a nut upside down and threaded it the wrong direction, which is pretty hard to get off, and you can't take off the nut after you've threaded it that far in. And so I was super embarrassed and reluctant to say anything. But I built up the courage and I talked to my supervisor, Ken, and asked him to help me, and he fixed it and told me that it happens all the time. So that reassured me that it's okay to be just starting out and just being a beginner, and that you should speak up. And so I'm working on that acknowledgement of that weakness and trying to grow on it still. And then the last one is empathy. And specifically, I had a time where an immigrant was working with me on a bike, and he told me that he came over from Rwanda this year, and I asked him about how he felt coming into a place like Nebraska, and he said, oh, I don't know, I don't think you'd understand. And I reassured him that I do understand, because I know what it's like to be an outsider in a community, especially coming into a demographic where it seems like everybody is the same. So I reassured him. I came and approached that situation from a background of, I don't really know his perspective and he doesn't know mine. And then we took that and ran with it, and now we're friends. So that was a really important experience for me to have, and it has helped me grow in that aspect of empathy. So my contribution specifically, I went to Saratoga Elementary with about 16 bikes and repaired them for a gym class in which they were teaching the kids how to ride a bike. And that experience was really monumental for me, because I saw how happy the kids were to learn about this and to see me putting together these bikes. They were so ecstatic, and that was huge. And it reminded me of why LBK is so important. And so my other contribution is that I promote Lincoln Bike Kitchen all the time. I tell my friends about it. I tell my family about it. I just won't shut up about it because it's amazing. So I definitely am always contributing in that manner. And then this other experience was very, very cool, and I'm very fortunate that I showed up that day. My development, I feel like I am growing a lot because of Lincoln Bike Kitchen. I now approach situations from that assumption that I don't know any of the people's backgrounds around me, and that I need to be inclusive at all times. And then my communication skills, breaking down those abstract concepts, which is super important for engineers. I'm a lot better at that from being at LBK. I can explain things to people who are new-time volunteers, and I really value being able to break down those things, because we do that all the time in engineering. And then lastly, that acknowledgement of strengths and weaknesses. I'm not really afraid anymore to express when I've done something wrong or if I've messed up, because Ken reassured me that people do it all the time and not to be afraid as a beginner. So reflecting on all of that, Lincoln Bike Kitchen has had a huge impact on me, and I definitely would recommend it to anyone who is starting out and wanting to find a service organization, although I would suggest bringing gloves during the cold months. And really, if you want to grow and understand cycling community and really value sustainability and reliable transportation, this is the place for you. I wouldn't change anything about what I did other than, bringing a jacket, bringing gloves during those colder months, and otherwise just talking about it more and getting more involved. I wish that I would have really taken a lot more time and delved into this experience as much as possible. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to talk to me about this presentation. I listed my phone number here and my email, and I also listed Gabe's. He's the overall supervisor, and if you want to volunteer, he can get you signed up. So thanks again for listening to me today, and that's the contact information you need for any questions. Thank you so much.